Hi, I'm Tyler Brown.
And I'm Joseph Ortiz.
And this is our presentation on pride.
Pride is experienced in all sorts of ways in the realm of sport. Pride can affect fans, players, coaches, essentially anyone involved. Pride is certainly a factor in teams' identification and overall feelings and connection within sport. When performing our research focus, we mainly focus on three things: defining pride in the sport fan perspective, developing items to measure pride, and research trend. These are important to identify in order to establish what pride is and how it affects sports. Our research method consists of two expert interviewers, one with football coach Stephen Potter and the other with baseball coach Nick Pontieri. Following these, we dove into a literary analysis to try and define pride to find the effects it has on those involved in our sport.
Found these three main theories to be central in helping to identify just how pride works and the differing ways it can be found. The social comparison theory by developed by Dr. Festinger in 1954, the self-evaluation theory developed by Dr. Tesser in 1988, and the appraisal theory developed by Dr. Lazarus in 1984. First, we'll talk about the social comparison theory. This theory, developed by Dr. Festinger in 1954, essentially shows that people will always be comparing themselves to others. Due to these comparisons, people will find themselves constantly trying to square up themselves or their team against opponents or other people in general. This is how identification and prideful teams can be established. The second theory we'll evaluate was the self-evaluation theory, developed by Dr. Tesser in 1988, is one which runs along a similar pattern to the social comparison theory. It talks about how people will feel pride by affiliating themselves with others who they feel are on the same level. All of this stems from each person's desire to feel good about themselves. Finally, we have the appraisal theory. Developed by Dr. Lazarus in 1984, this was a theory which analyzes how events will make you feel and react in certain ways. As a result, how you feel will be greatly affected by the situations themselves, as can be shown by the diagram on the slide.
For our first question in our expert interview, we asked two coaches to define pride in the context of sport. Coach Potter said, "Pride is a standard of how you do things. If you take great pride in what you do, you will be great." As for Nick Pontieri, he said, "Pride is defined and shown by how you handle adverse situations." For our second question in our expert interview, we asked the two coaches if pride was impactful to bringing people to sporting events. Coach Potter stated, "Yes, people will take great pride in your program and school, but you need to win and give them something to take pride about." Nick Pontieri stated that yes, if you don't take pride in what you are doing, then the fans won't care. This shows that pride plays a big role in bringing people together for a competitive sporting experience. As for our third and last question in our expert interview, we asked the two coaches if pride was an emotion that frequently impacts sports. Coach Potter stated, "Yes, because if you take pride in what you are and what you do, you will be able to accomplish greater things." Nick Pontieri elaborated and said, "Yes, pride can bring out one of the adverse situations in sports, and those people with pride will be leaders of the teams." This shows that pride is impactful in all aspects of sports, from fans to players and to coaches. For our definition of pride in the context of sport, we took a quote from Coach K, a head coach at Duke University, one of the most reputable coaches in college basketball history, which stated, "Pride can come from many sources, but ultimately it can be defined as self-respect and feeling of satisfaction over an accomplishment. It can also be a feeling you get from being a part of something bigger." For our definition of general pride, we found it generally means having a self-respect, feeling satisfied with your achievements, and being dedicated to what you're a part of.
There are various different contexts to defining pride. For example, you could take the business approach to defining pride and say that a dignified sense of what is due to oneself or one's position or character. Or you could take the communications approach to defining pride and say that pride is a high opinion of one's own dignity, importance, merit, or superiority, whether as cherished in the mind or displayed in conduct. Even still, you could take the psychological approach to defining pride and say that it is a pleasure or satisfaction taken in something done by or belonging to oneself or believed to reflect credit upon oneself.
Pride in the sport fan perspective can be defined as such. Pride is an overwhelming feeling of honor, fulfillment, and satisfaction towards a team, sport, or player. The effect of pride results in a sense of dignity, worth, and assurance.
In regards to items to measure pride, we first take a look at the study done by Tracy and Robbins, which was performed in 2007. They used a scale rated 1 through 5 and asked 20 psychology students questions about how they were feeling. They used emotions such as accomplished, fulfilled, a feeling of self-worth, and productivity, and had these students rate them on this scale. We developed this questionnaire to measure pride in the form of a true-false survey, as shown below. We ask questions such as, I feel more confident when my team performs well, and ask the surveyors to answer in a true-false format. This test can help to show whether or not a fan is proud of their team. Moving on to research trends, for the first research trend, we started by using the study done by Tracy and Robbins, in which they analyzed 20 psychology students and tried to separate the two dimensions of pride. This study was said to have developed the first empirical portrait of the structure of pride. For their future plans, they wanted to further develop the primary idea that pride has as a function. For the second research trend, we analyzed Dr. Chang's 2019 study in which they sent stimulating messages to participants followed by a questionnaire. Dr. Chang found his results to reinforce the importance of self-continuity. Dr. Chang wished his further research to use varying types of stimulants, including audio and video, and also stated that negativity and its effect on pride should be researched more. The third research trend we evaluated, a study titled The Emotional Consequences of Donation Opportunities by Dr. Acton in 2016, had 287 student participants complete a questionnaire with a 5-point scale about baseline emotion. During this experiment, they rolled a die for the opportunity of monetary benefit and then were given the opportunity to donate their winnings after rolling that die. The results showed that if they donated 50% or more of their winnings, they felt more prideful. Dr. Acton states that future studies need a link between small-scale experiments such as the one performed here and actual society. Through all of this, we can find that pride allows us to feel a part of something more than ourselves and greatly increases one's self-esteem when it is felt. It is certainly a key factor in the way we strive for success.
In conclusion to our research, pride is a background emotion in sport. Those who are successful certainly feel prideful. Pride is an emotion which can generate a feeling of nostalgia from former prideful moments.